Back, you're watching a special live broadcast countdown to the lockdown. That's in 1 hour 45 minutes. SABC all around the country observing how all of you are readying yourself for this unprecedented moment in our history. You'll remember that the president, within that stage of a national disaster, did say that special provision is being made for homeless shelters and for those that experience their violence in their homes during this lockdown. You will remember that public places, which is where most of the homeless find themselves sleeping outside, those are pretty much going to be shut down. To find out what the state of play is, we speak to SABC reporter Chriselda Lewis. She's spending some time with homeless people on the streets of Johannesburg to see how not only is this affecting them, but how they're preparing for this. Chriselda?
Well, good evening to you, Tepi. So Stacey, Angelo and Curtis are joining me here this evening on the streets of Johannesburg. Well, life is generally hard on the streets, and they are amongst one of the most vulnerable groups in society, spending time on the streets, fending every single day for themselves, not knowing what they will eat, where and when they will go to bed. So, of course, with just under 2 hours now to this national lockdown, there is great concern on their part about where their next meal is going to come from. And certainly from the conversation that I had with them, Tepiso, you would recall that earlier on this week, the Gauteng provincial government had indicated that it had identified about 30 schools where they were going to place the homeless in Gauteng. I know that currently at this stage, one of my colleagues, Hasina Gori, was crossing live from one of the shelters here in Johannesburg, where some of them have been placed. There's also an area that has been identified in Pretoria, but it certainly seems like some of the communication has not really filtered down onto the streets. Let me join now Curtis, Angelo and Stacey. Life is hard on the streets, so with the national lockdown fast approaching, Tepiso, there's great concern on their part about what life will look like for the next 21 days. Let them join me now. Let's start with you, sir. Thank you very much for agreeing to speak to us this evening. Let me just get a sense from you. How are you feeling this evening? And I think in particular because it's slightly different. There's a national shutdown or lockdown that will be coming up in just under 2 hours. How are you feeling about that as somebody who spends their lives on the streets of Johannesburg?
I feel sad and bad because I didn't want to be here on street. I was working by cent and then I was fired 2018. Since I was supposed to go back home, Cape Town High, they robbed me there in town, take my bags, everything, money. That's why I am here, the side here, for the guys. It's so bad, but I don't know where we're going to for the 21 days of lockdown. And I don't know who's going to bless us, help us with some place to sleep and some food to eat. May God bless them and they can help us. That we pray.
I think, let me bring you in, sir. Did you get any information regarding where you can go as someone who spends their time here on the streets of Johannesburg? Is there any information that's come to you?
No information has come to us here on the streets. Most people just telling us that we are going to prisons and jails. That's me, I don't know.
What?
I'm wordless, my sister. I don't know what are we gonna eat, where we're gonna sleep. I feel like dying.
Let me come to you, sir. You were telling us a bit earlier on that you're concerned. I mean, the life that you live is one where you're hoping that Good Samaritans would on a daily basis assist you with something to eat. and now that the movements of people have been restricted, how do you feel about what's about to happen in less than 2 hours?
It's actually me, my sister. I'm very confused right now. I don't know what's gonna happen, my sister, because we haven't received any information from anyone to say that where we should go to, or that they are coming to fetch us. And my sister, that the people are gonna be locked down in the houses for 21 days, my sister. I really don't know how I'm going to cope, because I live on handouts, my sister. People who help me, you understand? So I really don't know what's gonna be happening, my sister. That's it.
And I can imagine, everybody is being told to keep safe. I cannot imagine how you are able to do that out here on the streets. Is there anything that you're doing? I know that you are more concerned about making sure you have a place to sleep and something to eat. But the spread of this coronavirus in the condition where you are, have you done anything amongst as friends to ensure that you are able to keep safe somehow? I know it's extremely difficult because that's not top of your mind at this stage.
Oh, can you please start with this one first?
Maybe I can start with you.
This corona thing, I'm not scared of it, because I believe in God, you see, my sister. Yeah, so if it must come to me, it must come to me. It's my time to die, it's my time to die. Yeah.
That certainly sounds very distressing, but this is real. I have to warn you, my brother, that this is real, and I understand that it's very difficult to try and take any precaution because of where you are. Sir, is there anything that you've managed to do amongst your friends to ensure that you are somehow safe, as difficult as it is in this particular condition?
Yes, Mamisha, I've managed to get a few tin foods, meal, things like that, so that I can budget for this 21 days, my sister. But for this coronavirus, I am applying to the rules of the government to cover your faces and your hands, and I'm sanitizing as much as I can. But
has anybody come to help you with some sanitizers or anything?
No one's come to help me. I bought my own sanitizer and hygiene soap this afternoon. Yeah, I don't know how long the sanitizer is gonna last me, because it's already a lot. We used already a lot of it, so I don't know, my sister. Yeah.
So if there was anyone to come here and assist you this evening, are you willing to go to a place where you would be able to at least be safe for the next 21 days during this lockdown, and perhaps you'll be able to get some assistance during that period?
Yes, I will go. If there comes someone to come and save us and help us, at least to be safe for not getting this sickness of this corona. If they can come and help us, take us to places, I will appreciate it. I will go with them, and I will do what he said we must do. Yeah.
And you, sir?
Yeah, even me, I'll go there, because on my behalf, I also want to leave drugs and stuff, you see, my sister. So I think it will maybe be a rehabilitation for me. Yeah, by going there. Yeah.
So, guys, what's the plan for the next 21 days? There's no one out on the streets after midnight tonight. What can you do?
I was just asking for people, maybe that is watching, maybe can help us with food and stuff. But it's actually very tough for us, you see, because when there's no people in the streets, there will be nothing for us. Some of us will end up stealing from people, end up in jail.
To be honest, it's like we're going to the end of the world with this corona thing. But if someone can help us, at least we must be saved for the 21 days. We will say thanks to them and thanks for God to speak through the people who can help us. At least we must have the shelter where we can be saved and where we can wash and do our things and pray for him that he can end this sickness of corona. We must pray hard. It is this thing for me, it looked like a sign God show us, but he is near to come, because in his words he said, those who don't follow the word, what I was teaching the world of to do, but you must know without God we are hopeless, but with God we know that with God in our sides nothing can stop us and no sickness will come near us, because the word said if you spread the word out that I teach you and believe, no sickness will come near you. But we must pray hard, and for the 21 days we can go in fasting, ask him to make they should have the cure of the sickness, that we can be together again. But we must believe we must believe in God and hope that virus don't touch one of us on street. That will be bad.
Yes, sir?
Me, my sister, I'm hoping for someone to come and fetch us and take us to a safe place of safety. My sister, and what I can say about this coronavirus is bad, very bad. I'm just asking for everyone to apply to the president's requests for us to cover up and keep safe and clean, and then that's it, my sister. I'm actually speechless, my sister. I just
you wanted to
and
say
we're
something?
asking for the support from the people that maybe can help us, sponsor us with food and rehabilitation. You see, my sister, because actually the drugs we smoking, it can actually kill us. You see, my sister, if we don't get it. You see, my sister, it's actually called heroin. You see, sister, if we don't get it, it's a very bad story. You see, we can't go without it. So,
All right.
so the thing is what we would like support for rehabilitation, my sister, on the behalf of me, and people can maybe help us with food and stuff like that. You see, my sister, food, clothes, and so on. They sponsor us with stuff like that. You see, sister. Yeah, I'll appreciate it a lot.
Tsepiso and Aldrin, I must say that this evening I'm one of those people who recognizes how privileged I am, and I think everybody should recognize how privileged they are, because for these three gentlemen this evening, they're asking for assistance, and I think it is our responsibility as well to contact the authorities and make sure that, because the message did not get to them, that there have been schools that have been identified for them to be safe during this 21 lockdown period, that they would also be able to get some assistance. This is the reality of it, Tsepiso. For those whose lives are a daily struggle, battling to get something to eat, battling to find a place to sleep. And in this instance, all they're hoping for and all they can do is simply pray that the virus does not get them. For the next 21 days, there won't be anyone on this usually very busy street that on a daily basis I would come across some of these gentlemen. So we'll try to get as much assistance for them as possible. And I guess for them, not knowing over the next few days what will lie ahead, is just but one story of many others of the most vulnerable in South Africa who have to go through this. So I must say this evening, I speak from a place of privilege because they just simply don't know what to do.
And Chriselda, I must ask this question. Obviously, you have been doing your reconnaissance mission. Finding homeless people in this country, especially in the streets of Johannesburg, is not difficult. How many of these have you passed along the way?
Well, Tepiso, when we decided as the SABC to try and speak to as many sectors of society as possible, it was not very difficult for me at all late this afternoon to find some of these homeless men and women who we pass on a daily basis. And it took me about 5-10 minutes with my colleague, video journalist Kabinjo Kweni, to find some of these gentlemen who then agreed to speak to us. And it was quite clear from this afternoon already that there did not seem to be some communication that had filtered towards their direction about there being some kind of assistance for them in terms of these 30 schools that the Gauteng provincial government has spoken about in terms of hosting or housing them and others as well. So it was not difficult at all for me to find some of them.
Thank you so much, Chriselda. SABC reporter Chriselda Lewis reporting from the streets of Johannesburg, speaking to the homeless. Even though Acting Social Development MEC Panyaza Lesufi says they've identified 13 schools in which the homeless can go into during this 21-day lockdown, during which we are counting down, by the way. We're an hour and a half away. Many of them say their greatest fear is the fact that they won't have food, blankets, all of the things that they would ordinarily be able to corral up during what would be a normal time. And of course, even though some of you may find them a nuisance, as Chriselda was saying about that issue of privilege, it's something that is very important to remember, that here this emergency really throws up legal issues, balancing us individual and communal interests to protect the public's health. Because that is what it comes down to, the fact that the interests of individuals and the community may conflict. Of course, we'll have more coverage, rolling coverage, counting down to the lockdown, SABC all over to try and bring you the story of what's happening, where it's happening. We are also going to go to New York.